Trigonometry, Chapter 5, Trigonometric Identities, Section 4, More Identities, Video 5, Product to Sum Identities. This series is based on content from Pearson's Trigonometry 12th edition by Lial, Hornsby, Schneider, and Daniels. In the previous videos, we derived the double angle identities for sine, cosine, and tangent, and applied those identities. Here you see all three, or rather all five, double angle identities. In this video, we derive a group of identities called product to sum identities. As implied, these will rewrite products as sums. To derive these, we take a pair of sum difference identities. For example, consider the following identities. Cosine of x minus y equals cosine of x cosine of y plus sine of x sine of y, and cosine of x plus y equals cosine of x cosine of y minus sine of x sine of y. Notice the products cosine x cosine y and sine x sine y are common to both. Treating these as a system of equations, we should be able to solve for either product. What happens if we add the equations together? Think about it. If we add these equations together, term by term, first, notice the sine x sine y terms would cancel, since one is positive and one is negative. The cosine x cosine y terms would combine. 1 plus 1 is 2. So we get 2 cosine x cosine y. The terms on the left would be added together. Cosine of x minus y plus cosine of x plus y. Multiply both sides by 1/2 to get the first product to sum identity. Multiplying 1/2 on the 2 cosine x cosine y would cancel the 2, leaving us cosine x cosine y. And multiplying 1/2 on the other side would give us 1/2 times cosine of x minus y plus cosine of x plus y. There's our first product to sum identity. Now, if we subtracted the equations instead, the cosine x cosine y terms would cancel. Anytime you subtract two things that match, they disappear. What would happen to the green terms? The sine x sine y terms would give sine x sine y minus negative sine x sine y, which would be plus a positive, which would give us 2 sine x sine y. And the terms on the left would be subtracted. So cosine x minus y, something is fishy here, something looks wrong. Crisis averted. The terms on the left would be subtracted, leaving cosine of x minus y minus cosine of x plus y. Multiply both sides by 1/2 to get the next product to sum identity. We would get sine of x times sine of y equals 1/2 times cosine of x minus y minus cosine of x plus y. A similar approach can be used on the sine sum and difference identities. Sine of x plus y equals sine of x cosine of y plus cosine of x sine of y, and sine of x minus y equals sine of x cosine of y minus cosine of x sine of y. Notice that we have pairs of like terms, so we could play the same games. I invite you to repeat the previous process to get the following. Sine of x cosine of y equals 1/2 times sine of x plus y plus sine of x minus y, and cosine of x sine of y equals 1/2 sine of x plus y minus sine of x minus y. In summary, the product to sum identities are, I'm going to read them all, cosine of x cosine of y equals 1/2 times cosine of x minus y plus cosine of x plus y. Next, sine of x sine of y equals 1/2 times cosine of x minus y minus cosine of x plus y. Then, Sine of x cosine of y equals 1/2 times sine of x plus y plus sine of x minus y. And finally, cosine of x sine of y equals 1/2 times sine of x plus y minus sine of x minus y. That's a lot. Now, before we move on, I'd like to make a brief comment about memorizing all of the identities. We still have 3 more sets of identities to go. There are a lot of identities, and honestly, that doesn't even scratch the surface. Because of the nature of trigonometric functions, it is extremely difficult, not difficulty, difficult, if not impossible, to categorize every type of identity. Some are more useful than others and hence get special treatment. As far as the identities I'm introducing, I'll be honest, I don't have them all memorized. Which ones do I have memorized? No apostrophe here. Of the ones we've seen so far in this chapter, not this section, but this chapter, the ones I have memorized are the fundamental identities, Pythagorean reciprocal and quotient, the sum and difference identities, and the double angle identities. I do not have the product sum identities memorized. However, I know how to derive all of them when needed. I know that the product to sum identities are just algebra games played on the sum difference identities for sine and cosine. As such, when I need one of these identities, I just rederive them as necessary. There is no now you try. Just be aware of the product to sum identities.